Here's a little story that must be told.
This one particular day when I came home from school, I usually go home and practice, and I was playing music a little bit too loud, and my mom's came and banged on the door, boom, 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 boom. If you don't cut that music down, you're gonna have to cut it off. And then when I was ready, we gave a party, and that's when I first introduced the scratch.
When I was at Prairie View, A&M, this cat named R.P. Cola brought 2 copies of
The scratching thing, that's always the first thing that usually grabs somebody. How the hell are they doing that, you know? So it's like, that was me. How are they doing that? So I grabbed my mom's, whatever, record, Joan Baez record, and I'm scratching it on the turntable, tearing the shit up out of it, you know? And she's not home, so thank God, you know, but she comes home and there's grooves all beat to shit and the record's all busted.
My dad used to hide his needles in these attaché cases that my mom had. And he would hide the needles there and lock them up. And my brother would pick the lock and take the needles out and stuff like that and set them up on the turntables and call his friends over, and his friends would just bring massive records, like crates of records and stuff like that. And they just make tapes, you know? They make all kind of mixtapes with his friends rhyming and my brother DJing. Cut.
A lot of people get rap and hip-hop mixed up. It's 2 totally different things. When you say rap, you say an MC and a DJ. When you say hip-hop, you say graffiti, you say breakdancing, you say DJs, you say MCs.
This was the famous Brownsville. We had a lot of gang violence happening at the time. Also a lot of social awareness that was also happening at the time. So that's why we started.
You know what I'm saying? He was the division leader. And it was taken from a concept of Bambaataa went to Africa when he was leaving the Spades, and he seen how the black people were living over there, and you know, he adapted his culture. He said, when I go back, I'm gonna start the Zulu Nation.
We started organizing a lot of the different people in the street, you know, who had different dance groups.
From us beating each other up to like break dances. I used to break dance myself back before Crazy Legs, before all them cats. Y'all got the moves from me, you know it.
Let's dance.
Playing, you know, kind of like a disco club type of thing, you know. A lot of stuff that was being played on the radio, a lot of popular stuff. And out of all of that came this rebel, Kool Herc. He wouldn't play that main album cut. He would play a break from a song inside the album. So it was like beats and rhythms and, you know what I'm saying, his style was, he was like God.
The breakbeat is that part that you look for in a record that let your God self just get wild. And then as soon as that breakbeat leaves, you're saying like, it's only a minute, it's only 30 seconds, you know, you want to hear some more. So that's where the hip hop DJs came in and started making that beat, that breakbeat, that stripped down funk, that span longer and longer before you could just get crazier.
This drum set upstairs that I took for since I was 8 years old, building up, you know what I'm saying? Now I gotta make room for some turntables. One day I'm upstairs, Bam's turntables drop. And get the words out of his mouth, I ran in the room, packed the turntables up. I was at the door like this. Where Bam at?
Brought his turntables down and let him get on, and he started rocking the house. And
Let's dance. Let's dance to the drummer's beat. Let's dance.
we had Jazzy J, Red Alert, Grand Wizard Theodore, DST. All of them had their different characteristics that just blew up the turntable.
The DJ was the source of the energy because it was his responsibility to find the DJ.
We would never get on the mic and start saying a rhyme. The only time we would pick up the microphone is when we would say, if you own a green truck outside, please move it, or Jerry, your mother's at the door.
And it was a DJ who had to give the rights of passage to the MC to even pick up a mic at his set.
I was walking down the street just a humming to the beat, and everybody else was a doing the freak. Then they asked me about another MC. I said a wimp and a wham. I don't give a damn. Look like a jelly, but they call it a jam. You know?
The MCs were just more or less there to get the people involved. And like we would create the crowd participations, you know, all the hoes, say ho, you know, anything that had to do with the crowd was where the MC, the master of the ceremony, got involved.
The DJ was the backbone, and we were the arms, the legs, and everything else to make him colorful.
And they say the big DJ race, Theodore is running in first place. From the left to the right, he's out of sight. From the right to the left, he gives the death. From the front to the back, he's not the rap. Visibly, he got his back, so get down.
If a person wants to get an understanding of how hip-hop was back then, the best thing is to look at Wild Style because, you know, that was how it was done. You're not gonna get to see Grandmaster Flash, you know, cutting in his kitchen. That wasn't like part of, you know, somebody wrote a skit or something and said, well, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have him put his turntables in the kitchen. No, they were in the kitchen.
A lot of the clubs further down in Midtown Manhattan, they never wanted to book no MCs or DJs. As time went by and they found out that we were making money, that's when they started booking us. Things started being pushed, getting pushed more downtown.
That's when a lot of the punk rockers started coming up, hanging with us and partying among black and Latinos, where everybody...
Sir, hovering over the city have been confirmed.
Hip-hop. 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 I think like 82 maybe was when the Grill opened up on 3rd Avenue down around 10th Street. And I saw it, you know, and me and my girlfriend, you know, I said, this is great, huh? She said, well, I think I'm going to have like a drink. And I went over and bought 2 of them. I said, here you go, just have them both. And because I was like, I didn't need the drink or anything, man. I was just like, you know, let's go. Because there's nothing in this music that I don't want to hear. There's words that are kind of syncopated and rhythmic, and there's this hot drum track. It's great. This is music I've been waiting all my life to hear, and I didn't know it.
We felt so attached to this because this wasn't just something that we did for the money. I mean, we believed in this. I mean, when I left, I could play for 6-7 hours outside. Then when I came home, I set my turntables up and I played for another.
Pre-rap record hip-hop, before people were rhyming on records.
When Rapper's Delight came out, it got into the era where the rappers didn't need a DJ. As long as they have a drum machine on the side, you didn't need a DJ. And a lot of record companies wanted to just pay the rappers and not pay the DJs because the rapper's voice is on the record. So what do you need a DJ for?
DJ's the ones that put the MC.
Oh, that's where that zigga zigga sound comes from. Is that turntable moving back and forth. And then I knew that's what I'm gonna be one day. It was just so futuristic at its time. Who would have thought? I mean, there's people playing the trumpet, drums, but I just knew that this is something different. Hey, I want a 9, and I would mix off 2 tape decks. And that's where I got my name, Mixmaster Mike.
Mike really communicates with the soul of the solar system, having been there. You know, in other words, he knows about Earth because he's here and he's moving around in those stratas, just trying to show the Earth people what's going on.
I got inspired one day because down from the apartment complex was a football field. And I seen these 3 lights that landed on the field. And maybe I am actually communicating to intergalactic beings. Robert Johnson, the Delta Blues.
So I got here. This is life-size Qbert. As you can tell, my super physique outmatches this man right here.
Watch me practice the whole day. Then in between my practices, he would ask me, how do you do this? Can you do that again?
My advice, do not show this guy your...
This is a fader, so you can just, what it is just on and off. You know, that's all it is. You know, the more techniques you know, the more, it's like each technique is a word. And so the larger your vocabulary, the more articulate you can speak. Beat juggling is the live manipulation and remix of music right before your eyes. Usually what you do is you kind of use the same two records, like that, right? The fader is like for that turntable and that turntable, right? And in the middle is both. I can't sleep unless there's music on. I was like a D- student. I totally hated it. When I was a little kid, it was one of those Fisher Price turntables, and I used to play it backwards and stuff when I was like I don't know, 4 or 5 years old. And I would always say to myself, wow, I wish I could record my voice and put it on record and see what it would sound like if I played with my when they use that sound. It's kind of like if you can gauge a guitarist's skill if they just use a plain.
It's like, to me, it's like some other kind of intelligence. Me and Qbert used to practice. That's where we made up the question and answer. I'd scratch the question, and he would give me an answer. And so we didn't even have to talk to each other for a whole day.
I remember one time he moved away to another city, and I was like, damn, how am I gonna bite it? How am I gonna get his ideas? So I imagined all these
with it.
Since Earth is like it's like kind of like a primitive planet, what about the more advanced civilizations? How does their music sound? So I would imagine it, you know, whatever they're doing, and I guess that's how I would come up with my ideas.
You're on. What's up? We are the Bulletproof Scratch Hamsters. Changed our name to the Space Travelers. And,
why is that?
We changed our name because of DJ Mars.
In the mid crowd, the best was, you know, like the winners.
Lowrider, car show, YMCA, corner store battles, you know what I mean? School DJ battles, block parties and shit, you know? For real, man, I used to do parties. And the motherfuckers would want to take my turns, you know? But that never happened, did it?
It was all about battling, you know. You got the b-boy battles and totally the DJ battles and stuff, and everyone would kind of get together, or you would even go to someone's house.
Make that motherfucker warm! It's getting hot! It's getting hot!
I remember going by Eddie Duff's house all the time, and he'd be down in this little room that got all sweaty. Just scratching.
Make it a little warmer!
If you're doing something and no one even gives a fuck about what you're doing, and you're just doing it in your bedroom for yourself, like how you really feel, it's like a painter just going crazy. That's what happened, and that's why they would come up, like, say, the Tones, go, this really is cool, you know, and it wasn't like thinking, well, will this work at the club on Saturday night? It was just, let's just do it. It sounds good to me, and to these two other people in the room with me.
covering the label so that nobody knew what you had, not revealing your tricks. And I think the Pickles were the first people to just be like, hey, here's exactly how to do what we do. We want you to go out and do it better so that we can learn from you. That to me was like it took that people, a lot of times crowds would just be like, yeah.
They won battles, that's what they did, and that's why they became so well known. I mean, they're incredibly talented, but that was something that sort of put them on the map.
What made it unique was we all had our own individual styles. I was into like scratching.
Oh, we felt totally like this is it right here. We're doing something different than everyone else. Yeah, we were totally like on another branch of hip hop.
I guess in the early 90s, there really weren't DJ songs on albums anymore. And actually a lot of rap groups didn't really even have DJs anymore.
That's just what they were doing with the DJs in the background, and they were just filling stuff. I was like, yo, this is not, we just totally blocked it out, and it was just...
Watch an album. What are you doing?
The return of the DJ.
Oh man, it definitely opened some doors, and it opened our minds. Up until the return of the DJ album, my goal was to DJ for a popular rap group and be on stage with someone and be in videos and stuff like that. I never thought that I'd end up having my... And Return of the DJ was like the start of that.
Start up the phonograph.
You're in Jackson Heights, Queens right now, and that's basically where I was born and raised. I'm Spanish. My parents are both Colombian, and at an early age I was exposed to music like salsa and merengue and stuff like that. During the early 90s, you had club DJs, house DJs, radio DJs, mixtape DJs who did mixtapes and stuff like that. We were like, yo, we want to have a concrete, specific identity, which I think Babu was like the first person to actually even use the word turntables.
I told him that and I go, you know what, man, I'm not even gonna call myself DJ Babu anymore. I'm just gonna be called, like J. Rue calls himself the Damager, I'm gonna be called Babu the Turntablist. And that's what it was. It was something I'd write on my mixtapes. It was something I named myself.
So and then all of a sudden it just went, just scattered, you know. He dropped it a few places here and there. Yeah, we're turntablists.
To me, the original turntablist is Grand Mixer DST. Not only was he an integral part of the song and the band, he was like the highlight.
The turntable is a musical instrument as long as you could see it. Tools, but the outcome is the same, music.
Just play that song, keep on scratching all night. Hey DJ, just play that song, you have me itching all night. Hey DJ, just play that song, keep on scratching all night. Hey DJ, just play that song, you have me
What's up with Rocco?
all night. Hey DJ, just play that song, keep on scratching.
Mr. Sinister representing the Executionists from Queens, New York.
Word. Representing Brooklyn Total Eclipse.
Rob Swift. Rob Swift.
Rock Raider from Manhattan, representing the X.
Good, so we figure we can probably incorporate it into something else that we're doing.
Right.
You know? All good ideas happen by accident, man.
I'll do it from the top.
No, those three were good. Just go from the left. After the third one, you just gotta do the end.
The last one.
The last brown filling, right? To do the last
Once you do
filling.
it, just do burn, burn. Huh? No, like how you how you said burn.
What we're trying to figure out is how to record music in a way that'll come off similar to the way a regular band would play music. So it could start off with one kick and snare, and it'll evolve into something big.
It's a tool. It's a method of transcribing scratches. It's helpful if you're trying to convey.
What this is all about is the art of mixing. It's analog. It's right in front of you. They don't need to manipulate time with your hands.
My dad's a professional musician. He wrote the Have a Coke and a Smile jingle. I don't know if you remember that, but so I get a lot of my musical background from that. I had like a traditional music upbringing. I was always in the band. I played piano and drums, and started drums when I was 7. And just all through high school, marching band, snare drum, I can read music, I played trumpet. But with the scratching, I had just heard like wicka wicka, you know, like really easy, simple stuff. I was like, oh, anyone can do that. But then I saw him and he's like doing all these crazy tricks and all these patterns that some I can't even play on the drums. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I gotta learn how to do that. And he pushed me, and a month after dating, he moved in, and we've been together for the last 4 years. The turntables moved in with him, and I stopped making fun of it.
The first time I heard scratching, really, it probably was like Rocket. It was just like so different and just such a weird sound.
And I looked at him and I said, oh no, what did I just do? I just spent a whole lot of money on turntables. And then as I began to gaze at him, I said, wait a minute, I can make this work. And I read some theory book, but they said if you practice for 1 year and give up everything, women, wine, song, everything, you give it all up, you would be the best at what you do. And that's basically what I did.
Day in, day out. When I go to work, he's getting ready. When I come back from work, we're still practicing. When I go to sleep, still practicing until I say it's enough. That I can't take anymore. Or else I'll break the needles. Okay? I'll break the needles and then you can't play anymore.
Watch out.
Steve D, Johnny Cash, and Sean C. Like, we used to all hang out together, and we used to go up to Steve's house and practice, and we started going with Steve to these battles because at the time, like, Steve was like the illest person out of us.
Once you think you've reached the limit as an artist to what it is that you do, once you believe that, someone's gonna come along and prove you wrong.
Battling, b-boying, you know what I'm saying? That's where it all came from. That's where hip-hop came from being, you know, competitive and from like trying to like knock the next guy down and trying to be the best. But it's all fun, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like real beef.
Hip-hop is asking you a question, you know, and that question is, what are you going to do? So if that person is considering himself hip-hop, as far as battling or being a DJ or what have you, he's asking you that question. And
raised to compete in the world and to get ahead the next person.
All the time. I'm growing up in Harlem, you know, you have to be tough that way.
Understand, this is the motherfucking DMC U.S. Finals. Somebody gonna leave here and go represent for the U.S.
DMC stands for Disco Mix Club.
It's like you do a 6-minute routine and you try to make that 6-minute routine the best overall. You know what I'm saying? You're not really going up against one guy. You're not trying to like battle this one guy, you're trying to battle everybody.
We did 12 heats this year, and they all, managed to win in their own cities or other people's cities, and came out to battle. So everybody was almost a first timer.
So
It just went bananas when people started beat juggling and then flaring and just crap.
Then after that, then became body tricks.
When I won the DMC World Finals, Rob was like a big time help to me right at that point. Like I used to come into his house, practice, just put my set together. Like we were just putting our song together. We just were like, hey, it'll be dope if you do this at that point, and just a lot of input, a lot of help.
You could watch a videotape and not realize how much time and energy was put into those 6 minutes. Months and months of practice. All boiled down to 6 minutes.
Of the set, and it's like, you're gonna compete against him. I'm not his friend anymore. I could care less. I want to eat his kids.
You gotta try to act like you're the number one, but it's all an act, you know what I'm saying? Inside, I get nervous.
You can do your routine 100 million times in your room. You get in front of like 500 hardcore hip-hop fans expecting to hear something.
I like the interesting ones, Mysterio, Snake Eyes. The ones that come out bugged out. They're not afraid to look different or do anything different.
Competition's a way to get seen, as opposed to just DJing out in the street, in the park. You get to reach a wider audience.
The winner from tonight, he goes to DMC.
When I was competing, I would be, I want to be the best, I want to learn all the tricks and put it together and put mines on top of it and flip everything, And then I guess now.
And it's too much. It's too much to stress all year planning the routines. Even Craze said it, after this third time he's done, whether he wins or loses.
And 20 years from now, I want to look back and I want to be like, yo, I had fun when I was like 20 and I was doing all this crazy shit with the turntables and stuff. I don't want to look back and be like, yeah, man, I was representing. I was keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I'm having fun, and that's what it's all about.
Let's see here. Who you want to pick a card? Any card? No, let me just see. Let me see. Then there's Guy, Luke Skywalker, both times with 2 Live Crew, Blackstreet. It's all fun when you DJ with a group because you get to showcase you. If you ask some of the turntablists, what groups you DJ for? Huh? What group? You know what I mean? And it's like you can't tack any medals onto the trophy that they may have that's sitting there. It's like they didn't go any further, and I think that they need to get, if they want to elevate the art form, it has to be on a bigger platform. You know what I mean? With whether you're performing in the studio or performing with another kind of artist, just take it there.
10, come on, 9, come on, 8, come on, 7, come on, 6, come on, 5, come on, 4, 3, 2, 1, run! And now, without any further ado, give it up for DJ New York and
took clarinet in the 4th grade.
I started playing on a set at 11, 12 years old, somewhere in that range. Then I got into turntables, or then I got into beat making, then I got into turntables. Didn't say, what else can I do with this?
You're not supposed to. You never were supposed to touch it.
Yeah, it was so.
Your parents were like, "Don't touch the turntable.
Yeah.
Don't touch the record. You're gonna ruin it." I was 11 years old, and I heard Rocket by Herbie Hancock. The DST scratching on it was ship ship shroot, and I grabbed the shroot.
That sucks shit.
Now you know us, but it's not the cold rush. 4 MCs, so we ain't the furious. Not the force MCs or the three from treacherous. It's a blast from the past, from the one where we bust. From whatever we touch, we hold platinum plus. But if my shit go bust, still I got weed trust. Cause it's the second coming. This laying rhyme so stunning. And keep it running. And give a shout out to London. Keep it on. It's never born to the top speed. Guaranteed we stick running. People bastard, quick my terror tactics. That make up the music so people can focus whenever the mic has been passed to.
Jurassic create songs with each other. We go about it in different ways. A lot of times, Cut or I will have a beat, and we will come to the table with a beat. Are you guys feeling this? Yes or no? Sometimes they're in here writing it, sometimes they write on their own, sometimes they write together. There's been tracks where the beat's been playing in the studio while everybody's just vibing out, just talking. There's times when we don't really have the rhyme, or the guys don't really have the rhyme together, and they lay down this mock track just to see how it goes, just to get the patterns and the fluctuations and everything. It's fun, but it's always a challenge.
Y'all know Babu out there? My people's on the midnight when we put down the mic. Thinking he dilated people. Brings heat, that's guaranteed for sure. A pure mixture. Somehow dope, you write all look. MCs without a voice should write a book.
For this era right now, I guess, for what the media has portrayed as rap music has been very limited. And I think with Dilated, we just brought it back to the basics. I mean, the reason that I even connected with Evidence and Rocka was because they didn't want a DJ for fake reasons. They didn't want someone up there. You know, they could have anybody. They just wanted a stage prop DJ. But they themselves are very involved in all the elements of the culture of hip hop. They both started as graffiti writers and applied those same mentalities to their MCing, and Evidence also as a producer. So their respect for the DJ goes without question. You know, so for me to be involved in any aspect of the group, whether it's recording, feels right.
This is a show vinyl I put together for the Beastie Boys, and I put like drum hits before each name, so it sounds like.
Mix master.
There'll be times when I'll start scratching, just totally flip them out. You know, it's like I'm their maestro, and it's like whatever I throw in, they have no choice. They have to rhyme over it.
Come down into the dungeon.
This is basically more or less the bulk of my collection. I got a thing, got some vintage hip hop. Even got a little Chuck Berry right there. 2,000 altogether I have in the house. Doubles of a lot of things, you know, rare cuts and some garbage. I know so many breaks, man. I mean, I'm a walking encyclopedia. Yeah, classic, Planet Rock.
One particular thing that I remember was going to see Africa Bambaataa Planet Rock. And Jazzy J was so funky, it was great. Moving from one break to the next, cutting two records together, it was just wonderful. And Bambaataa would be, you know, looking at the crowd, you know, being the sort of inscrutable master of records.
Bam, point to the line, play the second cut. Play the second cut, the break is right there.
Puts on the 45, and this break comes to the end, and then voop, 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 boom, and he lets it go. And I was sitting there, I was like, wait a minute, what? And it was the opening break from the Shirley Ellis record, The Clapping Song, which I think the last time I heard that, I was 9. And I really liked it when I was 9. And all of a sudden, everybody's dancing to this funky break, and I thought, that's fucking amazing. Africa Bambaataa, master of records.
3, 6, 9, the goose drank wine, the monkey to the back on, we all went to heaven in a little rowboat, clap, clap, clap your hands.
remember, okay, this is what it was all about.
You could be digging for breaks or vocal samples or bass lines or weird children's records or whatever.
He's from South Carolina. He's like, yo, Cut, you know, I could go into a town and just, I could just smell the records. It's like, I pull in and oh, honey, we gotta stop. There's some records in this town, you know?
You're digging all day when you find that one record, you know, it's at the end of the crate, you're dusty, you stink, you know? And it's a whole culture. I mean, it's that whole, like, you got it on vinyl? You got 2 copies on vinyl? It's like that always thing you're asking. It's like your drug. You got that?
And this happened to me when I went to records, you know, listed in there, because I tore them all out already. So I'm like, oh, man. A keen sense. He's got the spidey sense.
He comes here regularly and spends the day usually going through the records downstairs. And he's been coming here for a long time. And he always comes up with a big stack of records like that. We don't let just anybody downstairs, so he does have a special relationship in that sense.
This is just, it's my little nirvana. And being a DJ that I take, you know, the art of digging seriously. And this is just a place I've been going to for 11 years. It's just an incredible archive of music culture. And there's the promise in these stacks of finding something that you're going to use. And in fact, most of my first album was built off of records pulled from here. So it has almost a karmic element of like, you know, I was meant to find this on top, or I was meant to pull this. Me and my buddy Stan that I used to dig with, he was a graffiti writer. We used to come here just looking for things like, you know, Incredible Bongo Band and stuff. Every now and then we'd buy things and Ed or Mark or someone will say, oh yeah, we got a ton of these in the basement, or, you know, oh, you should see the basement if you think this is something. So after like 5 years of hearing this, I just decided to can I just take a look? And we came down for like a big pile of broken dreams in a way. Almost none of these artists still have a career, really. So you have to kind of respect that in a way. I mean, if you're making records and if you're a DJ and putting out, you know, releases, whether it's mixtapes or whatever, you're sort of adding to this pile, whether you want to admit it or not. You know what I mean? 10 years down the line, you'll be in here. So keep that in mind when you start thinking like, oh yeah, I'm invincible and I'm the world's best or whatever. Because that's what all these cats thought. Lesson in all the old breaks being played by themselves from front to back in order, a cohesive way that just, you know, it was groundbreaking.
The torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans.
Lesson 3. It was a fusing of a lot of funk music and being able to take all these spoken word elements. And it became this increasing series of left turns where all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, right, man, great. This is like, we can put Humphrey Bogart over this, and I have this seance record that we can use.
When I heard that was, I mean, over the years, I always kept record. I called it Lesson 4. And just so happened that a few hundred miles away, Cut Chemist was doing the same thing. For the same reasons.
Lesson 2.
That was the first time I've
on stage for a Lessons kind of reprise. We're trying to use all the original records.
I'm like a radio DJ, you know, as the first record ends, the next record begins. And these guys, you know, they knew that these were studio creations. And they kind of looked at them as, oh yes, this should be able to happen live. Which is amazing to me because we never even thought about that.
And say, children, what does it all mean?
A lot of those groups that I was brought up on, from the Commodores to Earth, Wind & Fire to Al Uncle, just didn't sound rugged like it used to. It's something about that, just that beat, man. It moves you in a certain way before you even hear vocals. It's a driving force.
Innovator in the production realm. You could tell he was a DJ first, got good at that, and then started making his own beats and just utilized records in every possible way.
And the artists I work with, I always kind of hear the song before I do it. And what it is when I start looking for samples or sounds on old records or whatever.
What's up, California? What the fuck's going on, California? Yeah, that's my man DJ Premier. I am the guru. We are gangsta. Take this for example, young niggas want rap in the life you're living. You can't ask them. It starts with the young ones doing crime for fun. If you ain't down, you can play it out, son. So let's
up they ain't gonna sit there. But if you say it to them like, yo, you know, blah, 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 and you kick it to them with the proper attitude, they're gonna wanna get down with you.
They might say that we're a menace to society, but at the same time I say, why is it me? Am I the target for destruction? What about the system? A total corruption. I can't work at no fast food joint, I got some talent. So don't you get my point? I'll organize my niggas and get crazy. Selling D-R-U-G-S.
If I chose to be an MC, believe me, I'd probably have to go through a lot more drama than I do as a DJ because of the fact that the MC is more vocal. So when you're speaking a voice like that and you're selling, you are what you talk. And I tell it to Guru every day, yo, let's be about everything we drop because we're gonna get tested on it. If the people on the street don't test us on it, God's gonna test us on it.
Making your own vinyl is, it adds a different level from what I've got this record that I put out that I made where it's nothing but guitar tones. And it's a whole octave. So you can play it like an instrument. That's kind of evolved. People used to not like it anyway, catered towards DJs, so records specifically for turntablists and battle DJs and that sort of thing started popping up.
These are ultimate breaks and beats. You know, that whole digging in the crates thing. These kind of like helped a lot of guys find those breaks that are just not around. This was an opportunity for them to just like have these. There are hundreds all over the place.
This record contains 7 different noises. Noise number 1 is the horn staff. And then the numbers.
I'm with the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
1, 2, 3, and then the tweak tone. And then the crash.
There have DJs on it, the clubs, everything is DJ oriented.
It's everywhere. Everywhere you go, people are buying turntables, people are scratching.
Just in the amount of DJs, I mean, it's thousands of new ones every day.
With Will, DJ Spaz. Second, Daniel, DJ Froth. So after Daniel, we got Mike, DJ Tech, David, DJ Static. The thing is that you guys enjoy yourselves when you do it. Of other kids sometimes, you know, but doing it here, it's a huge room, you know, and even if they're all not standing right in front of the stage, there's 100 people in the room. They're
It's cool to be the one controlling the crowd, you know what I'm saying? All the kids around me in my class, they say, oh guys, you gonna DJ the next dance? I'll say, yeah, I'll be there. They say, we'll be dancing, scratching or playing music or whatever, so it's cool.
You know what I'm saying? We rappers, but we be doing a little DJ. You see the little shirt right here. So DJ, they cool because, you know, a lot of guys like it. You know, they be bumping it in the cars and stuff like that.
It's the whole hip hop thing.
Yeah, it's the whole
Everything
hip
that
hop
has to
thing.
do with hip hop we like.
Do you like scratching? Scratching? Yeah, what is it? Scratching.
I heard that in England in the last few years that turntables are outselling guitars.
There's no doubt about it that the DJ industry has doubled. Youth were playing guitars and drums back in the 60s.
The turntablist guys have really made a big splash. There are competitions like Disco Mix Club, ITF, have really fueled innovation. You have people like Qbert and Rock Raider, Mixmaster Mike. It's definitely...
Back by Pop lives the man.
When they have a demonstration. Spent all this time woodshaying to learn all these like licks and everything, you know, musical theory and everything, and these guys come along, you know, scratching up the place. I've tried out myself, but I didn't know what they're doing. They could do some really neat stuff with it. But I guess honestly, I hope it doesn't become another one instrument out there. I don't know, that'd just be a letdown.
The turntable can entertain you for a while, but if you are only entertained that way, then you are eventually going to be dull.
Kind of a silly way of making a noise that's not too pleasant to ears.
Without musical instrumentation, what do they have to scratch? What are they gonna do when electricity runs out? They're stuck with acoustic guitars. I don't know.
Any record will work. Have your little vinyl killer van. You can see myself, Shortcut, Qbert here, riding the van. Put the needle on. Turn on the van.
Well, after the 60s, sort of identified it with the whole Grateful Dead culture. I think we're in completely a new culture right now, which I feel that the Invisible Scratch Pickles initiated. And now, with a lot of the other crews around the Bay Area, you have a whole new energy source.
For Filipinos, or American Filipinos at least, we don't really have role models, you know, as far as mass media goes. You know, there's no athletes, there's no actors. You know, we have our parents and Qbert. And, you know, whether Q likes or dislikes the idea, he's very much a role model. You see it, you know, even the Australian DJ champs are a couple Filipino guys, you know what I mean? It's more than a coincidence, you know, and I really attribute it to Qbert and Mike and Apollo, like, putting the DJing out there so much.
Invisible Scratch Pickles presence, you just kind of go, uh-oh. Because, you know, I mean, they're the most influential DJs that have ever lived.
Necessarily just do like solo things, and it's like the Sex Pistols. It was like they broke up at the peak. It was perfect. Yeah. Or Operation IV, the day their album came out, they broke up.
I'm waiting for the DJ PlayStation game. You got your Burger King DJ, you know what I mean?
You got the breakdancing is gonna happen to DJing too. You know what I mean? The true motherfuckers will survive and still be doing it 20 years from now. And there will be all those fools that jump on it for, you know, for the trend of it.
That's the whole thing. We got so kind of tired of the MCs. Fuck you guys, you know, we're gonna do our own thing. But now we're kind of screwing ourselves. The originality, and we're just kind of getting typecast into this, oh, that's turntablism, or that's turntable music. I know the boundaries of that. I know where that's gone.
You got all these new kids, they got like 10 records, and they're just battle records. You know, and that's their collection forever. And they think that's, when that record wears out, they're gonna buy it again.
Like a lot of scratch DJs and DJs that are like battle DJs don't know the first thing about digging for records and how to rock a party, you know, how to get on the mic. It's really important to get on the mic and speak to the crowd.
People should make music to make people want to party and not just like make music for people to study. You know, it should make you want to party and shake your ass and like
why does that
get some girls on the dance floor. You know?
Why does it gotta be studied? I want it back. I want it.
This thing is maybe 20 years old, you know what I mean? If that. And we're just on the brink of something new. And I just know right now, it doesn't really bother me because I just know, I look at the kids who are into it now, and they're obsessed like what sells, what is fine music, what is not.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an experimental record. It's an experimental for me, and I hope it be experimental for them. The drop, the drop, the drop, 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 the drop, the drop, 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 the drop, the drop, the drop,
Turntables, we've got a crowd, and the collective goal of making the crowd rock.
The DJs are a lot deep breaks, the producer-minded individuals, people who are like in there digging non-stop. That's the backbone, like in a jazz band, that's the drummer. Then you have the soloist, the turntablist, the scratcher, taking you on those abstractions. Flows that you can find parallels to and merge. Exciting thing about hip-hop is it was already doing that originally, you know, the four elements, breakdancing, DJing, graffiti, and MCing. They're trying to marry a lot of different styles and a lot of different flows. Like with Doze, he paints behind it. That same fluidity in the way he paints and what's happening in the mix, there's definitely a parallel there.
When I'm painting to a DJ in a club, the DJ talks to me, I talk to the audience. Hip-hop is the lifeblood of my work, and turntablism is the next step, and it coincides with the audiovisual package of Future Primitive. The DJ gets the B-boys going, you know what I'm saying, the breaks and whatnot. They've always been the architects, the foundation of the dance, the art, the MC. They're the conductors. They're the ones who lead you to where you want to go.
Get hypnotic and stuff, and they go into a trance, and so music is trance-inducing, like hypnotic, gets you in that spiritual state. Called the zone or a nirvana. You know, you just totally you're just all into instrument, and the universe is playing you. It's some kung fu stuff. I don't know. It's just you're just in there, and you don't feel it. You're just flowing. Nothing can stop you.
Go by the name of Grand Mixer, EXT. And tonight, I want to thank my brother, Qbert, with the Grand Mixer. So Qbert, think about what you're going to do with that turntable to freak people out. It's a heavy thing, man. It's something that you got to really interact with that turntable, watching it spin, looking at it time after time after time. And it's very obvious that this brother has been indoors for a long time, many hours. I know, because I used to do the same thing. And to see somebody take something to the next level and pass that baton, then he deserves that right to use that name. The Grand Mixer Qbert.
Now it's time for our wrap-up. Let's give it everything we've got. Ready? Begin.
I believe everyone is one. Everything is one. Everyone's connected, you know, and we're all just like one energy. Like we think we're separated, but everyone affects everyone. When you find out you're not separated, it's like everyone is a limb of one whole thing. So why would you want to hurt your hand or hurt your fingers or hurt your arms when you know that person is part of you? So in order to help people, I make music for them, and teach people about scratching and I guess try to brighten up their lives or whatever. That's my whole destiny on this earth.
Qbert and
that I've affected the population of the planet Earth. That's a great feeling.
I feel that people today are realizing that what they're doing now came from somewhere. In order for it to go any further, it has to go around the 360 in order for it to go even further. And I always say, you have to know where hip-hop's been in order to know where it's going. You have to. You have to.
Well, I always know things goes into cycles, and it's all galactic. Since we are becoming galactic humans, you know, we're trying to get to Mars and Jupiter and all that, so.
The world that, you know, there's something really cool out there, you know? Something different.
They should give me $1, you know? You know, I really feel that.
Shut up,